Hello everybody, it's the tNb Gaming Podcast once again, episode number 19, and we welcome you aboard for another rip-roaring, however long it is, session of chat, which we'll just go through like we usually do each week. This is the Retro Bear speaking to you from the Gaming Pantry, joined as usual by three other guys from the tNb, joining me remotely from the comforts of their own homes, and very pleased to say we've got four of us in tonight, which will be fantastic. We thank you once again for your support and your continued appreciation of these podcasts. We love enjoying doing these, and we hope you enjoy listening to them as well. And also a new episode every Sunday night at 7. So let's go around the table as always. I tend to bring him in first because he's usually the first one on the top of the list. Gunaldino Plays. It's a very big hello to Rob.
Hello to you, Mr. Bear.
How are you? All right?
Meh.
Meh.
Not been the greatest of weeks, but you know.
No, hanging in there. That's the main thing.
Hanging in there. Yep.
Not too disappointed at the result of the football, just.
No. More the fact that someone tried to borrow my car without my knowledge, and probably they're not going to return it this week. But apart from that, yeah, I'm good.
Good. Okay. we'll gloss over that one.
No, it's all right.
No. Yeah, say it has been a bit of a strange week.
Bit of a rough week.
Yeah.
But I'm a great believer in that. If you believe today is the worst day of your life, then tomorrow is already going to be better. So there you go. Just think positively.
Positive outlook. Also, we'd like to welcome back for the first time in a few weeks, Pete Fighter 2. Good evening, Pete.
Good evening, Bear.
How are you? All right?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, feeling kind of good.
Feeling kind of good. Yeah. Good to have you back. It's been a few weeks, but nice to have you on.
Oh, it's good to be back.
Keeping yourself busy. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't get enough of that.
But mind you've been working all the way through again, haven't you, as well? So it's
Yeah, I've had holidays and stuff, but apart from that, I have been working from the start. But enough about that.
No, that's it. We'll move over from that one. And also, final member of the team today is Sean at Retro Games Revived. Hello, Sean.
Hello, mate.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine, mate. Thank you very much.
Good. You sound in a reasonably good mood.
Oh, I'm always in a good mood.
He always is.
I just wonder what he's taken before he's come on. That's all.
That's why I've come here. Sean's here. He can make me happy no matter what's happening.
Yeah, same here.
Exactly, mate.
He's a legend.
That's why I requested him.
And I've got a beer as well.
You've got a beer. I am today. Do you know what I've got? Pepsi Max Cherry.
To be honest, I've
not
actually
bad.
got two beers. I've got one on the go and one
you?
next to it ready, yeah, just in case I run out halfway through.
Right, okay. Nice one.
No amateur here, mate.
Well, it's good to have everybody on board for this week's episode, which is great to see. So it's number 19. And it's just going to be regular format. If you've not listened to it before, we'll just be talking about what we've been playing this week, and then a bit of a general chat about various sort of things that have sort of cropped up during the past week. And I think from next week, probably what we'll do, episode 20, we'll start getting back to doing a bit of a theme each week. But you said last few weeks has been quite difficult to get hold of people together, so we hope you've enjoyed these where we're just sort of having a general conversation rather than doing a topic, but I think we'll try and get something nailed down for next week's episode. So as I said, we always start off with this, what people have been playing. Rob, I always start with you when you're on. So what have you been playing this week?
Got back to playing a little bit more. So the last couple of weeks have been a bit barren, but we've got plenty of indie titles for Gamer Score. We've got some much larger titles, and we've got something in between as well. So,
All right.
where do we pick? What indie title do we pick on first? A very normal run and gun sort of side-scrolling platformer indie title on the Xbox One, of course, called Clash Force. It literally is, honestly, a very basic side-scrolling run and gun game, but was quite interesting enough. It certainly was. Yeah, it was a fun little game, but nothing too special sort of within the genre. And if you like your game score, yes, easy 1,000 right there.
Nice easy one to start with then.
Yes, a little bit more interesting. I mean, this was genuinely interesting. It's a game called Ultra Hat Dimension, and it's
Did you say hat?
Yes, Ultra Hat. Thing you wear on your head, Dimension.
Okay, yeah.
If you picture the Zelda view, you know, that sort of top-down view, a puzzle, it's all on one screen. You don't go into one room and out another. Every puzzle's on its own screen. The first level basically teaches you that you find a key, you get to the door, you leave, and the first level is just doing that with no obstacles in the way. And then the second level, you get introduced to these little blue squares that are placed all over the place. And what happens is, if you walk into the side of one of these blue squares, it punches you out of space. And so then you've got to navigate your way around those, after, to get to the key and then again to the door to get out. And from there, this is where the whole hat thing comes in. There's these little hats also scattered around on the squares. I think there's about 5 different types, and obviously as the levels go on, the more get introduced and they get a bit trickier. And if you're wearing the hat, and so is the blue square, which has a little face, that they are little sort of characters, and you walk next to that blue square wearing the same hat, it won't punch you. So you can, you can use that strategy then to get around it. And also you can push them once to slide them. But as soon as you push them once, the hat you're wearing then basically disappears, but they keep theirs. So wherever they move to, they can potentially be in the way of, and push you away if you're not wearing the right hat. And
where'd you find these games from?
well, it's again, this is the whole beauty of being a gamer score whore, and wanting to hunt down gamer score. You're introduced to games like this, which you never would have touched in a million years. It's by a company which is synonymous for making easy gamer score in Ratalaika games. Honestly, if you're in the achievement world, you basically know who they are without, before I'd even said it. And it was by them, so I was going to give it a go. And it was a puzzle game, and I could have got the completion down probably in under an hour if I'd just done the old user guide. But I thought, do you know what? I'm going to play this without a guide. You only need to finish 45 levels to get all the achievements, which isn't all the levels in the game. And before I knew it, 3.5 hours had gone by, and I'd done it without a guide, and I legitimately had fun doing it. It is, it's just so unique. I've never known a game like it. And it was actually a lot of fun.
And this is probably, I'm guessing, is one of the sort of joys of it. Is you find all these games that are completely obscure and what have you, and some of them, okay, you said before, a complete waste of your time. But more often than not, you're finding sort of games which you quite fun to play, and you quite like getting through.
And that was a fine example of it. And the next one is also, you end up playing it. Not a fine example of it because it's just another one of these visual novels.
Ah, we like these.
I've got to pronounce it, haven't I? I'm going to go with Heisei, although it's pronounced, or it's spelt with a J at the beginning, J-I-S-E-I. The First Case HD. And it is a visual novel. There's multiple endings you need to get for your 1,000 gamer score, and you play along, and you're in a restaurant, and someone gets murdered in the bathroom, and there's different options. You ask clues, and at the end, you try and work it out. Basically, it
sounds like one of the opening scenes from The Godfather. That
it sounds like Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit.
It is literally just a visual novel. But I don't actually know that game, so I'll take your word for it.
You really should play it. It's great.
Yes,
Fahrenheit. Was that going to be quite revolutionary when it came out?
Yeah, it was a Quantic Dream game. It was the same guys who did Heavy Rain and stuff like that.
That's it.
It's a really good game. It kind of goes off the rails a little bit towards the end of the game, like storyline wise, but it is a really good game.
I thought I had that, but I haven't.
I've got multiple copies. I could probably. I think I've got 2 copies on the PS2 actually. So if I have, and mind you, I'll not have the box, but.
Oh no, that's yeah. No, I remember reading about it and thinking, that must be a game I've got, but I haven't.
No, it's a really good game. If you ever get around to actually, owning it and playing it,
it's definitely something to pick up anyway. Sorry, Rob, we were getting sidetracked.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
It just starts exactly the same way. You're in a diner, someone gets murdered in a toilet.
I'll move on to the next one from that, which is I only got a couple left, and this is not an indie game, but sold as one. But it's an Neo Geo game, and it's anybody heard of Twinkle Star Sprites?
Heard of it, never played it.
Yeah, I was going to say, from the name and from the little thumbnail, it's probably not what you expect. And I was, again, obviously, gamerscore person. I was put onto this one by Beth Bear in a conversation over Xbox Live. And she said, you want to play this one? It's really easy. Plus, it's a great game. And she described the game to me. And I was just like, that sounds like a lot of fun. And it is a hell of a lot of fun. Now, the only way I can describe it to start with is, puzzle games like Super Puzzle Fighter, where you each have your own puzzle screen on each side, and you build up a row and things get shoved over to the other side and such like that. Okay, so yeah, imagine that style of game, but then make it so it's a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up.
Right, you've lost me.
I was going to say, people know the puzzle games where you have a side each, and it shoots things across when you make a row or you build a big formation, and blocks drop down on the other side, and you're competing against each other. It is literally, you can play against the computer as well, but it's basically a side-by-side version of that as a shoot 'em up. And obviously you're facing your waves of enemies like you do in a shoot 'em up as they come down the top of the screen. And if you build up a combo or shoot a certain type of enemy, it flings things over to the other side of the screen, which then the other person either has to dodge, or if they get enough shots in, they can actually send it back. And it's just, it's a style of game it's two games sort of, that I've never seen fused together, basically.
Yeah, it sounds really good, actually.
It is really good. It is a lot of fun, actually, and yeah, it is a really easy 1000G at the same time. But I found myself playing it for a little while beyond finishing gamer score wise with it. It's not all about that with me.
Yeah. You think with a title like that, it'd be like a platform or something like that, wouldn't you?
Well, I generally thought it was a puzzle game because you star sprites, and I think in sprites, puzzle game, but. It's a competitive vertical scrolling shoot 'em up where you play at the same time. And then, you play against a computer, there's 7 levels, and obviously they get progressively harder as you go along. Beat stage 7, you beat the game. But it's like, again, the beauty of it being a shooting up type thing rather than a platform, or, and I suppose the same as a puzzle game. No two games are ever technically the same as well. So, it's a lot. It was a lot of fun, and I'll probably be playing it again. Before I totally think I'm done with it.
But so it's one of those you're actually going to go back to that you played, you've enjoyed that much, you'll go back and play a bit more of it.
Yeah, it's addictive.
Yeah,
and the last game I've been playing is Shock. It's a beat 'em up, and that was because I picked it up recently in one of my jaunts, and that was Virtua Fighter 5 on the Xbox 360.
Did they get as far as 5?
I think that's where they stopped.
Right. Okay.
I think there was Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, which was Xbox Live Arcade game only. I don't know which one was first though, but I think 5 was where they stopped. And to be honest with you, you can kind of see why. There's not a lot of difference between playing 4, and to be honest with you, there's not a lot of difference between playing 3 TB, apart from the fact that 3 TB means team battle, and this is just one-on-one. They tried to sort of put some adventure mode in it, which is all right, but again, it's just a game in a different format. And I just don't find it as polished as other fighting games, which I kind of always think was its problem. I mean, if you think back to the Virtua Fighter series when they released Virtua Fighter 2, it was ahead of its time, it was fantastic, and everybody loved it. It was Virtua Fighter 1, but improved to the point that it kind of should have been for its time. But you can kind of see why the Virtua Fighter franchise has died by playing that.
Yeah, because it's been a long time since a game in that series has come out.
They kind of merged it into Dead or Alive, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
A hell of a lot of the characters appeared in Dead or Alive 5.
Yeah, but I think by having the Dead or Alive engine as well probably helps. The Virtua Fighter engine, it almost feels like it's still playing like Virtua Fighter 2, it just feels clunky. But it just looks a lot more polished.
I have played 5, actually, because you can play it in one of the Yakuza games in the arcades. And, it is... It's I don't know, it feels old, even...
I'll say it's that good. It's in another game as a little hidden extra.
But it felt old when it was new, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. So I only paid £1.99 for it, so it's no biggie, and I'm going for the full set as well. But it's not one that you're going to be, after you played it for a while, be reaching for the shelves, and wanting to play it again. You're going to be looking at your Street Fighters and your Mortal Kombats and your Tekkens, and so on. There's just so many other franchises in front of it. I haven't, Darkstalkers, Dead or Alive, like you mentioned, Marvel versus Capcom. Just everything is in front of it.
Yeah, it kind of became a bit archaic after the Sega consoles, when people just lost interest in that franchise. Yeah,
it's just a shame the Virtua franchise as a whole went, because
Yeah.
I would probably be the only one who'd kill for another Virtua Striker, and Virtua Tennis should never stop. It's just, I love it.
So me and Sean had a good game around Virtual Tennis at Arcade Club.
Oh, Virtua
Yeah.
Tennis is brilliant. It's epic, if you ask me. Best
we
tennis
had-
game, no contest.
We had a far from epic game, but
Well,
I think
Virtua Racing's the one for me.
Oh, yeah, of
that
course,
came
yeah.
out because there is a new racing game that's just come out or being released very soon. I think it's called Hot Shot Racing. I don't know if you've heard about it.
no.
But
No.
it's very sort of Virtua Racing-esque. I think it was meant to be released on a number of the modern consoles like PS4, Xbox, and PC, and also the Switch. But I think it got delayed. But I've seen people playing beta versions of it, and it's like really sort of that sort of style game.
Yeah, I think
Really good,
Virtua Racing was the only game that never aged, but only in appearance. To me, it's still fun to play, but obviously it looks massively dated, doesn't it? But it plays
yeah.
beautifully. If you ask me, I love it.
But yeah, this Hot Shot Racing's sort of very old school,
Yeah,
going back to that thing. So
I'm trying to dive into Xbox Live Store really quickly because I know they released. It might be the same game you're on about, but they released a very similar looking game not too long ago, about I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months ago.
yeah,
Again, that looks a lot like Virtua Racing.
it might be that one. I've seen quite a few of these sort of things coming around here. So, Hot Shot Racing.
So, yeah.
Are you up to? Is that what you've been playing this week? Oh, you got it. Yep.
Yeah, no, I just found it. It's called Formula Retro Racing, but yeah, it's basically Virtua Racing.
Right.
A little bit more polished, but trying to look old, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, because
Apparently, apparently it's meant to be a really good game as well. But I haven't played it.
Yeah, there is Hot Shot Racing as well, which is described as a homage to Sega classic arcade racers. So,
Oh, yeah.
like Sega Rally meeting Virtua Racers and racing sort of thing. But yeah,
There was one. It's a new one. It's very similar. I can't remember the name of the game because my mind's gone blank. But it's I know Nave's gonna kill me. It's the racing game where you're sat in the car with your girlfriend and stuff. And it's an old Sega game. But I just can't
Outrun.
Outrun. That's it. Yeah.
Seriously? Oh my
My
god!
mind I was just sat there while you were talking about virtual racing. My mind
Outrun
was just
2.
trying to figure out. But there is a new game which is like modelled on that, and I can't remember what that's called at all. It's on the Switch.
Yes, I think I know the one you're about as well.
Yeah, Outrun 2 or Outrun Coast to Coast, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, do you know what? I thought I was done with what I played. All I'm going to say is I had a Big Game Al came over here for the day. There's his one per mention, and yeah, he come over and after we had our day out, I played him a load of Dreamcast stuff, and he lost at Virtua Striker, Sega Rally, Daytona USA 2001, Ferrari F355 Challenge, Virtua Tennis when we played each other, and then we played doubles together and we won.
I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah. Did you check all the silverware after he left? I'm
But
joking.
yes.
Yeah, but no. Yeah, so that's a lot of games that you beat him on then.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was here for a couple of hours, but he came close to Virtua Striker. I had in one game, I had to win with a golden goal, which was far too close for my liking. You know, for a guy who's played that game in an unhealthy amount over the last 10, 20 years, or 2020 years. So yeah, that was a bit worrying. I was England, so that was probably why I gave him a chance.
Well,
But no, that is it. That is all I'm done with what I've been playing since I last spoke to you.
Another fine list as always, mate. Thank you for.
Yeah.
And hopefully, again, as we always say, the people that haven't heard of these sort of games are after game a score, or they just want to play some indie games on Xbox, and there's always a good list there. Pete, what have you been delving into this week?
Well, it's been a while since I've been on here, so there's quite a bit.
Yeah, well, what have you got, mate? If you can fill us in, and we'll see what you got.
I think you're going to say fill a bit of time then.
Well, feel free to do so.
On my Evercade, I went through the first Earthworm Jim game.
Ah, yes.
I'm quite surprised I can still do it, actually. I mean, we've got save states now, so that helps. But yeah, I played Earthworm Jim 1 start to finish and really enjoyed it. It still really holds up. And the humour's still really there as well. And
Yeah, because I was going to try and play that on the Mega Drive Mini.
yeah.
Is it the first one on there? Is it? I can't remember.
Is it on the Mega Drive Mini?
It's on the Mega Drive Mini. I'm just trying to reach the box. I've got all the stuff out in a second. Keep talking. Yeah, there is Earthworm Jim is on the Mega Drive Mini.
Yeah. Earthworm Jim 2 was always my favourite out of the two of them, but I thought I'm gonna try and play them consecutively, so I can get that complex storyline down. And but yeah, I've not got around to starting Earthworm Jim 2 yet, but I was quite pleasantly surprised at my ability to still play that game.
I find my abilities to just go out the window. It's
yeah, exactly.
If I was good at it before, I ain't so good now, and if I was rubbish at it then, I'm no better now.
I think your reactions just go when you get older, don't they, and stuff like that. But I also find that my ability to, persevere is also out of the window now. It's like if I die a few times, that's it, I'm done.
Oh yes, I've had enough. That's it. I'm putting this away there, right? Yeah.
Whereas before it was like you die a few times, it'd be game over, and you have to start from the beginning of the game again. But you just would.
But that's how it was. Yeah, that's what you did.
Yeah, but apart from that, I played through Yakuza 6, so I've now, since probably the end of 2018, I've gone through the whole Yakuza mainline series.
So I've never played a Yakuza game.
Until back then, I hadn't either. It's I started with Yakuza 0 on the PS4, which wasn't the first one out, but it was a prequel to the first one, so I figured it was a good place to jump into the series. And since then, they've re-released them all on the PS4, and then Yakuza 6 was just a PS4 game anyway. So I've finished through the whole mainline series of that. There's a lot of side games to play, but a lot of them were Japanese only, which is a shame. There was 2 games on the PSP, which were Japanese only. There was 2 games set in feudal Japan, which are completely unrelated to each other. But they were Japanese only. And then there's also a PS3 one, which is set in a zombie apocalypse, which I'm going to try and get hold of, because that actually was released over here.
All right. Okay.
Also, I've kind of noticed that the Yakuza games are starting to crop up on the Xbox now, which they've always been PlayStation exclusive. So, it's a good series to just get into. If you've never played it before, it's one that I wholeheartedly recommend. Rob?
And on Game Pass as well, I believe, so I have access to it.
Well, there you go. You can experience that one for next time then.
Yeah. It's it is. I mean, it is what it is. It's very Japanese. It's very sort of. It doesn't translate well to English, but it's.
Neither do I.
It's a series that's become very close to me, and I'm kind of worried about the next one because it's they've turned it into like a turn-based RPG instead of an action RPG. So yeah, I'm kind of worried about that. So, but I'm still going to give it a go. I love the series.
Well, yeah, the thing is, if you enjoy the series so much, you're going to be interested in the next game, aren't you? You won't know until you like it, until you actually play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I might not be interested in that.
Game Pass has 3 Yakuza games.
Which ones?
It has Yakuza 0, a Yakuza Kiwami. Is that how you pronounce it?
Kiwami, yeah.
Yeah, and then Yakuza Kiwami 2. It's got them 3.
Zero's the prequel, which is where I started in it, and Kiwami 1 and 2 are remakes of the first 2 games in the series. So
why is it called? Was it called Yakuza 0?
Because that's what they do, isn't it, for prequels? It's like Resident Evil 0, because 0's before 1.
He has a point.
but is 0 on people's shelves? Is 0 before 1?
I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to go there. I've already worked the answer out. It's going to be in whatever it is: Resident Evil, and you have Resident Evil Nemesis, and you have Resident Evil 0. Regardless of what order they come in. That's how they go on the shelf.
Numbers come before letters.
Yeah, exactly. Before we open this can of worms, probably saving that for a bit later. Go on, Pete. What else?
I do believe Yakuza 0 is actually the number 0, so that'd be fine.
But that makes it even worse, then, doesn't it? So.
Well, yeah, because it's looking after Yakuza, wouldn't it? It'd be Yakuza 0, Yakuza 2.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, mostly over the last week or two, I've been getting into Ghost of Tsushima on the PS4.
Ah, yes. Now I've seen that's been released, so I know it's out there. That's about the limit of my knowledge, I'm afraid.
Definitely know it's a game. It's if I was going to review it in kind of like a non-biased way, I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. It's not very polished. It's kind of bland, and like the dialogue's not great. But it kind of fuses two of my favourite types of game into one, so it kind of gets a pass from me.
Which two genres are they then?
Well, those it's not really a genre, but Ubisoft games, they like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Watch Dogs. They all kind of follow a certain template where you're on an open map and you basically traverse the map, sort of uncovering different camps and things, completing the objectives in the camps, moving on, kind of thing. And it does that very well, and I absolutely love games like that. But also, it's very similar to Assassin's Creed, but instead of like an Assassin's Creed where you can pretty much just free climb any surface, it's got like the ledges and footholds and things that you'd find in a game like Tomb Raider, Prince of Persia, Uncharted, things like that. And that kind of like sort of platform game is definitely my favourite type of game to play. And it does that really well, but in the open world setting of an Assassin's Creed type of game. So it, for all its downfall and everything, it is absolutely right up my street.
It does sound like an interesting combination, and
yeah,
saying there is
it's
but why 6 out of 10? There'll be a reason for that.
It's just unimaginative. I think it's like
this podcast.
Yeah, a little bit. Like my brain.
Please listen.
It's just like the world is just like, it's pretty and everything. You get like the nice like cherry blossom trees, the red leaves, the like yellow leaves and stuff like that. But there's so much empty space. The entire dialogue in the game sounds like it's just been repurposed from background characters in Grand Theft Auto, and just people, things you just hear people say on the street. And that it's just everything's just like canned phrases. It just doesn't seem like much work's gone into that side of it. And people are praising the combat system, but it's virtually the same as sort of Assassin's Creed games from the beginning of this generation, like Assassin's Creed 4 and stuff like that. So, I don't know.
A bit lackadaisical.
Yeah, and people are calling it... Well, some people are slating it, and some people are calling it like the magnum opus of Sucker Punch, who were the studio and made the game. But, to be honest, I can only think of one series of games they've done before this, which is Infamous. And, if anything, I think Infamous 2 was probably better than this. So, I don't know. But if you'll permit me to have a little rant about just people in general,
yes,
this game.
But by all means, carry on.
This is in defense of this game, by the way. It's come to my attention from things that I've read and heard in other podcasts that people have sort of attacked this game saying it's cultural appropriation because it was made by a Western team and it's obviously about samurais set in Japan and everything like that. That's not cultural appropriation. It's just annoying that this is like how people view things nowadays. And it's like, Star Fox wasn't made by a fox.
So I'm going to quick look on Wikipedia just a second, just to confirm that.
Sonic wasn't made by a blue hedgehog?
Sonic wasn't made by a blue hedgehog, no.
I'm glad
Mario
I was
wasn't
down
made by
when you said
Italians.
And Spice World was not made by the Spice Girls, we can
Exactly.
guarantee that, yeah.
None of those
But you
games...
played it this week.
Hey?
But you played it this week, yeah?
I'll get to that in a minute.
I hope. Oh, have you? Oh, right. Yeah, Rob's hands.
Yeah, none of these games were made by the people who made them. So why is it now in 2020 that if it's not made by the exact kind of person it portrays in the game, why is it now cultural appropriation?
I can see what you're saying there.
Yeah, it really winds me up with that. And another thing is part of the game that in one of the little mini games, the sort of less fun mini games, should I say, you have to write haikus.
Oh god!
Apparently, that's you choose from a selection of pre-written lines, and you've got to put them together in a way that doesn't make sense, but still.
I can't understand haikus at all. I really can't.
It's just 5 words, 7 words, 5 words, isn't it? It's doesn't even have to rhyme. But yeah, apparently someone got a haiku expert in, and these haikus are terrible. Apparently, it's just 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables. And isn't art supposed to be subjective?
Depends what sort of art, really, though, isn't it? I mean,
If people can put on like an exhibit of just blank white canvases and call it art, then I don't know why do people think it's right to just ridicule a game based on supposedly bad haikus?
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think the point you're making there is quite valid about it, and
yeah, I mean, not that I don't get art and I don't like poetry, but I don't know. I just think people are being unfair on this game for stupid things that don't even affect it really.
Well, come on, Russ.
Didn't somebody say that the main character wasn't handsome enough as well? Something like that.
Wasn't handsome enough?
Yeah.
Sorry, #me too. But no, I don't know. He's just a guy. He's just a samurai. Most of the time, he's got a helmet on.
They're not particularly attractive people, samurais, anyway. I apologise for any samurais who are listening, but they've got this ponytail at the back sort of thing business going on, and they generally look very angry. I don't find that particularly attractive.
I don't know. I don't think he's a particularly unattractive guy. I just think he's kind of like bland. He's just you picture a samurai, and that's what he looks like. But I don't know. I've never heard people complain about that before. I've heard people complain about female characters being not attractive enough, which is wrong. But yeah, I've never heard anyone complain that a male character isn't attractive enough.
People are complaining about the game for the wrong reasons. There, you don't. Yeah. You've got to be looking at the game itself, haven't you? You've got to be how it plays. The quality of the gameplay, the depth of the gameplay, the ability to bring you in and get you absorbed into the story. Not about whether it's been made by samurais or not.
I don't know. It just seems like people need to just get over themselves a little bit and just learn to enjoy things again.
Criticism for criticism's sake, I think you'll probably find that as.
Yeah, and it's being offended for being offended's sake as well.
So is that the last thing you've been playing? Is there anything else to your list this week?
That's pretty much where I'm at now. I'm about halfway through it, I think, and I'm really enjoying it for all its flaws. I don't think it's going to set it's not going to set my sort of game of the year list on fire. But yeah, I am really enjoying it.
Lovely. Right, Sean, what have you been playing then? Right, if I can guess.
No, I have, but I'm not going to mention that. I'm not going to mention that. I've actually I've been playing 2 racing games on the PS2.
Oh.
I did buy a few games last week from York when I went to York. Went to CEX, saw funds. Yeah, and I thought, I'm going to give a couple of these games a try out. Because I still hadn't brought me Amiga CD32 games to play. I have actually fetched from home now, and I mentioned it in the WhatsApp group, didn't I? Beneath the Steel Sky is the first game I'm going to play on that. So the next time we do another podcast, I might be able to talk about that game a bit more.
Lovely. Yeah.
But yeah, 2 racing games on the PS2. The first one, USA Racer. Don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Oh, that's going to be bad.
That sounds like a quality title, isn't it? That one.
It's absolute pish. It really is.
I knew that straight away because it's the same people that made London Racer and something other racer by a company who are synonymous with making really bad games. I believe it's Davilec.
Yes, the French one. Yeah,
they are. They are tosh.
Davilec also made the Miami Vice game for the PlayStation 2 as well, which I've got somewhere. Yeah.
Do they use the same engine then, do you think? Is this why all the racing games are rubbish?
Yeah.
They made a Knight Rider game as well, which was bad, I believe,
Did
as well.
They did.
That could not possibly be bad. I refuse to accept it.
There's two Knight Rider games. There's 2 of them.
Don't play their one then, Pete. It will scar you. Scar your happy memories. Trust me.
The great thing about the Miami Vice game, sorry to sidetrack this on there,
Alright,
but we are talking about Zavilex, is they actually managed to license the official theme tune for it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know how they managed to do that, where other games that you think should have things like that on there don't have it, but for some reason they managed to get hold of that. And it is literally just worth loading it up, listening to that.
I remember seeing that actually in the shop where I work a long time ago, sort of on the rack with like like the Midas games and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then there was like that, and I think it was Bad Boys. And I was thinking,
Bad Boys. Yeah.
How do these like budget brands get these licenses?
Beverly Hills Cop as well. Beverly Hills Cop's
I was
another
just
one.
about that's what I was desperate to bring up. Were they also responsible for that? Because it didn't have the official music, and it had a character in it which looked nothing like Eddie Murphy. It was literally just the name.
It's right. I can't reach it from where I am. I'm literally on my tiptoes trying to reach it at the moment. So if there's a crash, it's me falling over, breaking my neck, trying to work out if I can't reach it. But no, But games like that for some reason, just. I think it was around that time people were just grabbing hold of whatever license they could do, whether it was Beverly Hills Cop, Miami Vice, Charlotte's Pissing Web, Babe, Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet, and just turning out any old crap because they've got a license for it.
I reckon the PS2 must have the most licensed games. You just think because again, go back to watch it. I've just seen your latest pickups video, Sean, and again you're throwing up some of these games which were cartoon series, and I was just like, that had a game, that had a game, that had a game. I was like, Jesus Christ, is there nothing that wasn't licensed to the PlayStation 2 at some point?
I think the Wii could probably come close to that throne. Definitely the DS.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention them games, Russ.
Yeah.
Because they were all released by Blast, software company Blast. And they are actually Mastertronic, a division of Mastertronic. And that brings me on to the next game, which did I highlight it in the last pickups? It's Flintstones Bedrock Racing. And to be fair, it did play better than USA Racer. It was a bit easy. I think it's obviously more aimed at kids.
Is it called the Flintstones Bedrock Racing?
Yes, the Flintstones. So it will come under T.
It's all right. No, I've got a different game. I've got the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas. Which is actually a Midas game. We're talking about crap games by crap people. There's one there. Is it as bad as I anticipate it's going to be, Sean?
It's to us, it's bad. To kids, it's going to be a lot of fun. I must admit. I think, to be honest, the only thing missing that I thought, in game, there were no sounds from the characters, the characters that drive. Obviously, I was driving as Red Flintstone, and as you're passing the other characters, you're overtaking them. It'd have been nice if they could have, just said something as you passed by. And there were nothing. There were no speech at all in game. There were sound effects, the running feet,
Did you do the sounds for the cartoon? That was awesome. Do that again.
You'd expect Lucky Yabba Dabba doing a speed boost at least.
It sounds like it's been shoddily put together, but
I think it is, and I believe it uses. Because I have looked it up. It uses the same engine as Wacky Racers, which is also another game by Blast. So I imagine Wacky Racers is exactly the same game.
It'd be a reskin, wouldn't it?
Reskinned, yeah. So
because you mentioned because there was a Wacky Racers game on the PlayStation 1 and I think on the Dreamcast as well.
Dreamcast, yeah.
Now I'm just looking at. Then there was another one later on which is called Crash and Dash on the Wii, which I've just opened up now, and that was by Eidos.
By
Eidos, EIDOS.
Oh, right, yeah.
So completely different company.
Right.
I've played that, and it's not bad actually. It's not. But the first one, when Wacky Racers came out on PlayStation 1, I actually bought that when it first came out, and the inevitable disappointment was evident. It just wasn't a particularly good game.
No. It's a shame, isn't it, with some of these,
Well, you want things like that to be good.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's ever been into a Flintstones game expecting it to be good, though.
Well, I mean, did anybody ever play the original Flintstones game that came out on the 8-bit and 16-bit computers?
No, but I did have Quick Draw McGraw on the Spectrum.
Oh yeah, yeah. That Flintstones game, which was by Grand Slam, who were notorious for bringing out crap games. It was absolute crap. The first level, you had to sort of paint the inside of the cave while making sure that every time pebbles got out of a pen, you had to put it back in there. But your paintbrush, which was a squirrel, used to run around and jump all over the place. It was impossible to catch it, and nobody could complete this level. It was just physically impossible to do it. And it's rightly a right pile of cack. It really is. Absolute pile of cack. I think there is a Master System version which is exactly the same, and that's rotten. Is that it? Sorry, sure. We seem to be sidetracking through it.
No, that is it, mate. Yeah, that's all I've had time to play because I've been playing that other game. I'm not saying it this week. I'm not saying it.
That's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, that's it, mate.
Okay, lovely. I must admit, I haven't had much time to play anything this week. I've genuinely been spending a lot of my time sort of getting things and videos prepared for uploading to YouTube. I had a bit of disaster this week because I uploaded one video without any commentary, which was...
As long as you don't upload the podcast without any commentary.
Oh, I tell you, it's been that sort of week. I can't guarantee that, I'm afraid. So, so we could be talking to ourselves here. This is what made just happen. I'll just upload something else. But yeah, no, I managed to delete the wrong video and upload the wrong video, and by which point I realised it was too late. And then I thought I'd deleted another video. And told everybody I deleted it, and then found I hadn't deleted it, which is going to come up on Monday, which is a Super Mario Kart playthrough. I had the pleasure of speaking to Time Warp James on Thursday for about 4 hours for an upcoming Desert Island Games episode. So that was good. That went very well. That's good. But I haven't played much this week. I've sort of been sorting things out. I've actually sort of drawn up a few things that I want to try and do as well, and I've got some gameplay to do for the Mega Drive Mini and the PC Engine Mini, which I've picked up. The reason I haven't done that yet is because I've just upgraded the graphics card in the computer. Will be installed in a second. A GeForce GTX 1650.
That's a lot of letters and numbers.
Yeah.
This is what gets me
about.
This is what gets me about PC gaming. Why I've never really wanted to do it is because how do you know? How do you know what graphics card is good or not?
I've got no idea. This apparently has got something called Turing shaders, DirectX 12, and Ansel, which I thought was a drink, but but it's an NVIDIA one as well. So it's actually makes my videos can encode a bit quicker, which is more worrying for everybody else. That means there can be more of them, but that enables that to encode a bit quicker. And I've also had this week arrive. Like I say, I bought these sort of things, but I haven't. Where is it? Dark in here. There we go. A HDMI capture. So hopefully, with that upgraded power, I might be able to plug some HDMI. I know HDMI. I know Pete, you mentioned something about needing a splitter for the PlayStation 3, didn't you?
Yeah,
earlier in the week.
Something to do with HDCP, I think it is.
Yeah, I've got that issue. I've got a split for my PS3 stuff.
So I don't know. I'll just try and give that a go. But that would be great if I can do that because it obviously opens up three or four more consoles that I've not been able to, and my mini systems as well, which I wouldn't be able to record footage of. So hopefully, if I sit down tomorrow, Sunday, today we're releasing this, I can try and get some footage recorded and then play a bit more on the mini systems I've got. But I ain't really had the time to sit down and doing too busy doing some technical stuff this week, which is a bit of a shame. Hopefully I'll play a bit more next week anyway, but I've actually sort of started thinking about another series. I'll sort of pick games randomly for my selection using a random generator. And I've had a bit of a trial run today, which is really, really interesting because I want to try and do some of my bigger systems like the Xbox and the Wii and the PlayStation 2. And I did a little trial run today on games that were in my Wii collection. Give you a quick overview on that. And the idea was I just sort of pick 5 games. I'll record some game footage and just do a short video on 5 games, a bit of commentary over the top of it and a quick review and how I found it. I think that's the only way I'm going to play some of these games, and quite frankly, for people to see sort of things like I've got in my collection, it's a good way of doing it. So the 5 games that came out in random on the Wii was Colin McRae's 2, Colin McRae Dirt 2, one that I can't remember the top of it at the moment, Spectrobe's Origins, whatever that is. I've absolutely no idea what that is.
No, I've got a Spectrobe's game on the DS, I think, but I've no idea what it is.
Yeah, it's Colin McRae. The Wario Land Shake Dimension. He's one of the nicest looking games on the system.
Yeah.
One that I can't remember what it was. But lo and behold, when I did a random one, guess what came out? You Sing 2.
Yeah, belt it out.
So I've recorded that, so I've got to sort of stick by that now and maybe video on that. But I've got to be very careful about sort of like copyright and whatever on that one. But yeah, I can guarantee it. I did it the other day, and it pulled out 5 completely different games. Brilliant. And as soon as I put it on, record it properly, it pull out a singing game. Sod's law, innit? Sod's law.
That is kind of actually how I play my games when I'm in my game room. I do have like my list out and a random generator, and I do just pull out a random game to play.
I think it's the right way to do it, especially if you have got a lot of games. And I thought about it ages ago. I thought I'll do this. I'd try to do it, and it didn't work. So I thought I'll just try and do it again. And I can just play a game for a period of time, record some footage, chop out bits and pieces, and sort of keep it nice and concise, and sort of do a thing at the top of it. So yeah, but I'm hoping to do that with most of my collection. I will extend it probably to PlayStation 1, 2, if I can get the recording footage for the HDMI stuff. Obviously, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and just that may be the only way of me getting through some of these before I die. We're by putting it. So I can't really add anything to that, but that's what we've all been doing this week, guys. Now we were touching there on some licensed games, and we have a real hoot with some of that conversation. do we want to sort of expand on that and talk about some licensed games that we've played in the past, or sort of games that we've come across, or that haven't been very good, or really good licensed versions? And I mean right across the board, going back ages, because I know with Sean and myself obviously playing, going back to the 8-bit, 16-bit day, pretty much every other release was a licensed game, wasn't it? Whether it was a film version or a TV series or whatever. So
they get a lot of stick, don't they, as well?
Oh, they do. But the thing is, they get a lot of stick because
they're crap.
and also the fact that if it's tied into a film or something like that, this should be great, fantastic, and then all when you actually sit down and play it, it's just the same generic rubbish tossed out all over again.
The first one that popped into my head when you said that for an example of a good game, and it's probably not high on most people's list, but just something that popped into my head above all the Marvel vs. Capcom fighting games, which you'd have thought would have popped in someone like my head's first, but actually X-Men Origins Wolverine on the 360.
Oh, it's so good.
I remember getting hold of that and it just being awesome.
It is.
It really is. It's one of the best God of War clones that there ever has been.
Oh, don't throw the cloning on it. It's his own game, surely.
Yeah, but that's what the genre's called, isn't it? It is really gory.
You wouldn't expect it from it. It's so gory, limbs everywhere.
It's
great.
Wii version's not like the one on the 360 and the PS3 is it Uncaged edition? And the Wii version's like the standard one, so the Wii one's like not got the violence or anything, but
it's still a good game. So I've played played that through a bit, and I was quite surprised because I expected to be a load of top, but it really is a good game. It really is.
I was so pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah, me and my friend had like a bit of a running joke actually based on that game, because every time you come into a cutscene, basically whoever's talking to Wolverine's just basically like, "Hey Wolverine, do you remember what happened in Africa?" And then you go to a flashback of something in Africa. So Me and my friend was like, every time somebody asked if we remember something, we'd just turn to each other and say, "Do you remember Africa?" But
hey, do you remember that time we went to McDonald's?
Well, in Africa.
Yeah, well, they must have McDonald's in Africa, surely.
Oh, they're everywhere, aren't they?
yeah. But no, it's like as you were playing the game, though, it's like you'd lose bits of your body and stuff, and you could basically get down to sort of almost like a skeleton, and then it'd sort of regenerate, and it'd be awesome. It's a really good game.
Yeah, I was gonna say massively impressed by it. So I also like the Deadpool game as well. That's just popped into my head as well. More fourth wall breaks than any other game I've ever known in history. I really have. So yeah, just again, it's just so much fun as well. I think there's limbs everywhere in that one as well.
Yeah, it's Nolan North doing the voice as well, which is an absolute kind of perfect mashup of the voice and character.
Well, when it works like that, it's really good. It is as it should be. It's what you want from a licensed game like that.
In fact, I remember actually in that game, there's a scene where Deadpool he actually calls Nolan North, the voice actor, on the phone and has a conversation with himself on the phone.
I mean, it starts off with a fourth wall break, doesn't it? Because you're in the room at the beginning and you basically get an achievement for starting the game if you want, or a trophy. And he said, "Oh, what? Yeah, the first one's free." And then another achievement pops up, and he goes, "Oh, you can have that one too." Something along those lines. It's fun to play and it's fun to watch as well because of everything that happens in it. So I thoroughly enjoyed playing through that.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
See, going back again to sort of my youth growing up, I mean, everything was a licensed game, and most of those licensed games sort of came from Ocean Software, they tended to follow the same pattern. They sort of rolled out the same platform game with a little bit of a puzzle element into it, and when it was done great, things like Batman the movie. I played that on the Amiga. I still have a bit of a soft spot for RoboCop on the Amiga as well because it was quite like the arcade game.
I used to love that one.
But
it was a really good port for what it could do.
Yeah. But then everything was just so formulaic after that it was like, oh, here's another Ocean game, here's another license. Oh, it's exactly the same thing over and over again. And you just sort of got a tired format, so that when they kept getting licenses, they were just terrible games after that, and they sort of got glossed over it. But I mean, the whole licensing thing is just an absolute minefield. It's either really good or really bad. There's very little in the middle.
When you say you was growing up, for me it was kind of only a tiny bit later. I'm not going to have a pick at your age again, don't worry. But it was a little bit later, and the Mega Drive and Master System era, and all the licensed games seemed to be Disney. So like Mickey Mouse and all these Illusion games, and Donald Duck, Quackshot, Lion King. You say Aladdin. Tons of Disney games,
and then the Fantasia.
That was awful.
Yeah,
I was just about to say most of them were good, and then you said Fantasia. I was like, God damn it!
It's mentioning Ocean though as well, and the Amiga games in general. It brought me on to in not just Ocean games, but on the Amiga there was games based around not just licenses but product placement. I think it was Ocean who did Pushover.
Yes, that was. Who's opening the can?
I said I had another beer on standby. The first one's empty, for God's sake, man.
Talking of product placement, what are you drinking?
Yeah.
But yeah, Pushover was based entirely on Quavers.
That's right. It was. Oh, it was good game, mind.
It really. It came with my Amiga. I found the actual package that we got. It was that there was Putty, and I think it was F1. But that's not a bad package. That no, it was really good. But yeah, Pushover it's completely the gameplay is completely unrelated to Crisps in any way. But it was just the dog. Was it Colin Curley from the Quavers adverts?
Yeah, the dog wasn't it, which was Lenny Henry did the voice.
Lenny Henry,
yeah,
and he was just there. And then there was things like Zool, where everything was based around Chupa Chups lollipops.
Yeah,
don't forget Cool Spot.
Cool Spot, 7 Up, yeah.
And then the other one that springs to mind is James Pond 2 Robocod, which the current, the ones you can get on like more recent consoles had it all taken out, but the Amiga one was all based on Penguin, the chocolate bar.
Was it?
Yeah,
I remember that.
Instead of say you play the DS or the PS1 version of the game, you're rescuing elves like Christmas elves, but you're rescuing penguins. on the original.
I'm just trying to think. There was another one going back even further on the 8-bit systems. There's a Pepsi one. Was it Pepsi Mega Mix or something like that?
I don't get started on Pepsi Man either.
Pepsi Man, yeah, I was just going to say, I remember Pepsi Man.
That was on the.
That was later, yeah.
PlayStation, Saturday PlayStation, yeah. But there was one before that, and it was like a puzzle game. I think it was called like Pepsi Mega Mix or something like that.
I remember that.
Don't remember that one.
No, I can't remember.
Nah. I'm sure I've got it somewhere as well, which is really annoying.
There's Mick and Mac Global Gladiators as well.
Yeah,
that's
on
McDonald's
Land
as well.
McDonald's Land. There's quite a few McDonald's games, weren't there?
There was a Wimpy game back in the day, wasn't there, Sean? If you remember that one.
Yeah,
Mr. Wimpy, yeah.
Now, before we move off chocolate, Sean, have you got? I haven't played it by the way, but there's a really bad game which is based on M&Ms on the PlayStation 2.
There's loads of bad games based on M&Ms. There's at least 2 or 3.
There's a Smarties one as well.
Smarties game, yeah, Smarties. Can't remember the M&Ms one though, bro.
Yeah,
do you know what? I think I'm getting mixed up, and it was the Smarties one I meant to mention
Smarties,
actually.
Yeah.
But no, it was 100%. Yeah, Smarties one I was on about.
Yeah.
It's meant to be really bad.
I found it at the flea market not long back, but when I got it home, it wouldn't actually work, so I was kind of gutted about that.
That was actually a blessing.
You were lucky. Mine worked. Took it back to the shop. There's something wrong with this, but it works. There you go. Interesting about the M&M game you're thinking of was M&M Racing, which is meant to be a terrible racing game anyway. The Smarties Meltdown game, for trivia buffs out there, features the voice of Dave Benson Phillips.
Oh, one of TV's legends.
When you can't get Lenny Henry, you get Dave.
He was better. Get your own back. My childhood there.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just sort of looking over my shoulder. I mean, Sean, I mean, obviously, you know, quite a lot of the old 8-bit games. I mean, any sort of particular, because the ones I'm thinking of was alternative software, because they used to snap up any old license that they can make a game out of, and sort of, you know, Popeye, which has nothing to do with the original arcade game. It was a completely different original title. Sooty and Sweep. Sooty got a game, didn't he? Sooty got a game.
Yeah.
Huxley Pig.
Alternative software.
Correct. Yeah. And I think we alluded to it earlier, high-tech software as well, because Pete mentioned Quick Draw McGraw. They brought out a series of games on Hanna-Barbera characters like Scooby and Scrappy Doo.
Did they?
Yeah. Pixie, I think Pixie and Dixie was one. Atamant. Yogi's Treasure Hunt as well.
Right.
The expensive hit squad game, Addams Family.
Oh,
Addams Family, they had their games as well, didn't they?
But you just
which one's the one on the NES? There's an Uncle Fester one on the NES.
There's a Pugsley's one as well, isn't there? Pugsley's Adventures or something.
Fester's Quest on the NES.
Yeah, that's the one. It's awful.
And there's a Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt on the Super Nintendo. I've got that one.
But there's Addams Family Values as well on the Mega Drive. Blue Spine.
But I'm just literally looking at one section of my shelf. So we talked about PlayStation 2, the amount of crap it had on there. I mean, I'm just going through some of these licenses here. Space Chimps, that was based on a film. I've seen Space Chimps, so yeah, we got Spider-Man games, SpongeBob SquarePants, Star Trek games, Star Wars, Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, I played that.
I think that's a fair game. I quite like that one.
It got a bit repetitive, but it was okay.
And it's got the original theme tune in it.
It has indeed.
Bonus.
But there's also, I've still yet to play it. I picked it up very recently, but it's a licensed game. It's meant to be one of the worst games ever made, and it is Little Britain the video game.
Oh, God. Yeah, I can't even give that away.
Oh, it's a blast game. It's made by Blast.
Was it Blast again?
Yeah.
I've got it right here. He's. I don't need to check, but yeah. But the funny thing about it is, if you were a Little Britain fan and you saw this game in the shop, you look at the cover and you read the back, and it looks like everything you want. And you read the back, and it sells it to you. Do you know what? If you were a Little Britain fan, and then you get to that point where you put it in the console and your console actually ejects it for you before it even goes in, because it's that bad. I've only seen footage of it, and I am actually going to do a Never Have I Ever on this. I've recorded the intro for it already. I just haven't played it yet. But I've seen footage of it.
You should do it.
I've never seen it. No.
You should do it. Never will I. Ever. And just sort of sit there with it in your hands, going, no. No, I'm not
video me throwing it out the window or something as a car runs over it and then backs up, runs over it again. Parks on it.
But again, I've got strawberry shortcake. Remember toy
Wow.
toys?
Cartoon,
The Ant Bully, which was a film. Does anybody remember the Ant Bully film?
No.
No,
Nobody does.
no.
I do actually remember it, yeah.
That's why I had a game on the
vaguely remember.
PlayStation 2, because no one remembers it.
The Polar Express. What I wanted to bring up was the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there were like I think there's 3 Dukes of Hazzard games altogether. There was the first one, which I can't remember what it's called. There's something to do with racing home. Second one, which is something to do with Daisy in the title, and then there was one that came out on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, which was called Return of the General Lee. The first one that came out, and I bought this when it first came out because I was a massive Dukes of Hazzard fan. I still am, to be fair. In fact, I work with somebody whose husband has got all the Dukes of Hazzard on DVD, and he's also driven the original General Lee on a track day. He's an jammy bastard. That is something I'd like to do. But the very first game, and again, I was talking with my friend RetroKit yesterday about this. I was telling him about how I get very disappointed when they recreate the opening titles to a TV show. Now, the Dukes of Hazzard's got a very sort of specific, well-known theme tune, and what this particular game did, it created that opening sequence perfectly. But in creating the characters for the TV show, rather than try and be a bit more accurate, what they used was the game engine for the rotoscoping for the facial imagery for Planet of the Apes. with terrifying consequences, because it looks horrible. The actual sort of faces on these characters scare the crap out of you. It's horrible. I would urge anybody to go onto YouTube, find that video about the Dukes of Hazzard PlayStation 1. I can't remember what it's called. It's something like the Racing Home or something like that. Watch the opening sequence. That game will give you nightmares, honestly. It's absolutely horrible. But then you look ahead to sort of Return of the General Lee, which came out on a better system and it was a better game. They didn't recreate the opening sequences. They managed to get the theme tune in there. They actually got the extended version, but they didn't do it. And then I was mentioning yesterday, all the Scooby-Doo games I've played, you think about the start of Scooby-Doo, none of the games get it right. They either get a reasonably good graphical representation of the opening titles, but the music's crap. Or the other way around. The music's not the right theme tune, but they've got a completely fantastic rendition of the opening sequences. And I'm thinking, if you're paying that much for a license, buy the whole lot.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I played the South Park game on the N64, and they recreated like the whole of the intro to South Park in-game engine, and I was amazed by that.
But if you can do something like that and transpose it correctly, then it adds for the experience. You think, actually someone's taking a bit of care and attention into doing this. But some of them just sort of seem to be a mishmash of one or the other, and they don't get it quite right. It's
kind of like the whole thing about licensed games being just, churn them out as quick as possible to cash in on whatever's around and don't put any actual effort into it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because back then it was very much, if a big film was coming out, there'll be a computer game based on it.
You don't get that anymore, though, do you? And if you do, it's something like Spider-Man, where it's actually not related to the film in any way.
Yeah, I mean, in 8-bit days, they were actively chasing, licenses, weren't they? I know that they used to contact the film companies, and that they were in talks with the film companies and trying to, barter for the best deals and stuff. And like I said, they were actively chasing film tie-ins and movie tie-ins. But I think as we've gone on, like with PS2, there is a lot of, like you say, like Dukes of Hazzard, Captain Scarlet. There's a lot of film tie-ins, TV tie-ins, but it's like they're old, aren't they? They must have looked and thought, well, what can we do? Well, we can't afford any current movie licenses. Let's go for something older. It'll be cheaper. And maybe that's how they've done it back then. It's like, is there many movie tie-ins for these next generations? There isn't a single Tarantino game. Is a video game.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah. Besides that,
it's under the it's under the game cover that I made the tNb thing out of, where you've got a T-shirt print of it.
Well, Well, all right then. The 50 Shades of Grey film, video game is, I think that'd make a good game.
Do you think so? I've got no idea where you get that from.
Words fail me.
or we're not surprised. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously there's the X-Men in there. They're still being converted and that.
Yeah, they don't kind of bear any resemblance to the films, though. They're always just their own thing.
But you mentioned there about old films and things. I mean, two are probably the most successful ones that they went back and did years after the last sort of film came out: The Godfather and Scarface.
Yeah.
I mean, those were two films that the last Godfather film was 1990, and Scarface I think was probably 83, I think it was. Yeah. And those games came out a good 20 odd years after films came out, and they are pretty good games.
They were like a reaction to the Grand Theft Auto phenomenon, though, weren't
they? Yeah. But have you played Scarface?
I've not, no. I've got The Godfather, but I've never got around to it. But I know because Grand Theft Auto Vice City was heavily based on Scarface and parts of it.
I mean, Scarface is really good. Yeah, because it starts up literally with like all the best bits in the film. It's just like, it's like, wow, this is really good. This is, I don't.
Are you sure that wasn't just the trailer at the start of it?
I could possibly be that. I don't know. But yeah, it was, you tied in one of the. I mean, I think you make a valid point. Now we've got all these major, sort of films that keep coming out. Don't usually now get a tie-in with it, whereas back then that was it. If you had a major film, you had a major license. We mentioned RoboCop. The story about RoboCop being licensed by Ocean was fascinating. I think they actually read the original script before the film was even sort of produced. They actually bought the license before they'd seen the film. I think they got it literally from just reading the script.
Yeah,
I think that happened with the game for Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, and as a result of it, the people who created the game had a script that was pre-edit, so they ended up including a lot of stuff in the game which never actually happened in the film because it was edited out.
Well, the good thing the game wasn't it was as bad as the film, so it was all right. We didn't miss anything. There's nothing there that we missed out on at all.
That game was terrible.
But yeah, you just get surprised by it. I mean, there are good games, there are good licensed games, there are bad licensed games, there are ones which sit in the middle, and there's the really obscure ones as well. I mean, so they made that game, was it Dragon, on the Bruce Lee film, Bruce Lee story, Dragon. I thought that was a really strange game to sort of bring out.
That was a game.
Yeah, but I got Super Nintendo.
The Super Nintendo?
Yeah. Super Nintendo came out on the Mega Drive as well, I think. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, which I thought was a really weird license to do.
That makes me feel old. I wasn't aware that was that old.
Well, I didn't mean to make you feel old.
I'm the youngest one here.
I'm just trying. Go. Sorry, Sean.
Two really good movie tie-ins from the Commodore. Maybe you'll agree, Mr. Bear. Platoon and Predator, even. Predator won a fairly decent game.
I don't think Predator's aged particularly well. I think that's a bit clunky now. Platoon as well. I've got to be honest with you. I did play it probably about 3-4 years ago. I never played it before, and I'd read about it. I know well people talked about it, but it seemed a bit again quite as good as I expected it to be. That could just be me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're very much products of the time, aren't they? But I mean, if you look back. I mean, I do anyway. I look back and think, that were a pretty good, movie tie-in, pretty good effort, really. Because Platoon had different sections, didn't it? Segments, different varieties of gameplay as well. So, but I used to love Platoon. I did. It was still hard. It was still an hard game, but it was really good. And I did enjoy Predator, I must admit, when it was released, when I got it. But I see what you mean. I mean, now they are showing their, well, obviously they are old, so they're showing their age a bit. But yeah.
Do you ever play The Running Man?
Don't think I ever played The Running Man. No. I'm not sure if I played the Amiga version.
I played the Commodore 64 version, which is bad enough.
Is it bad?
Yeah, you spend literally the entire first side of the tape loading gaming. Then you turn over and have to load in the first level. It's multi-load, and it's an absolute bag of cack. It really is. And it sort of epitomises just how bad licensed games could be. It reminded me of Alter Beast. You're just literally going from left to right, kicking stuff. Yeah.
And while we're on sort of a little bit of a theme here, does anyone remember Total Recall on the Amiga?
I've played a demo, but I never actually had the game, owned it myself. We
had the game and it was terrible. And it was I don't know, it bear no resemblance to the film at all. You were just, again, it was just a walking left to right, and you were punching.
Sounds like Beverly Hills on the PS2. No resemblance.
But you were just like punching out guys who looked like the bad guy from Commando. You know, the Freddie Mercury type looking guy.
Yeah.
And it just had no, apart from like a little sort of pre-rendered intro sequence with like digitized stills from the film. It had nothing to do with the film whatsoever.
But then again, some of the NES versions of sort of like well-known film like Dirty Harry and things like that. Dick Tracy, yeah. They bore no resemblance to the film. And it was just absolutely ridiculous. A couple of really obscure ones to come to mind talking about it. I mean, you mentioned Freddie Mercury, got me immediately thinking about. There was a game based around Iron Maiden. Rock bands,
you got it free with one of the albums, didn't you?
Yeah, and there was also one based on Motorhead as well.
There was also an arcade game, which was a light gun game, I believe, on Spinal Tap.
No, it was Aerosmith.
Was it Aerosmith?
It was there's one. Oh yes, can't remember now what it was called.
And there was also an FPS on the Dreamcast based on Kiss.
Well, I mean that just sums it up, really, doesn't it? I mean, how on earth, I'm sort of Grand Theft Auto starring Bewitched would be the next way to do it.
Oh, please, just all lined up on a road.
Yeah. Sailor V. 90s reference there for everybody there. Down with the kids we are. But it's just so many games, good, bad, indifferent, terrible, shocking, bear no resemblance to the original source material. Just a cheap way of doing it. But I can guarantee anybody, you can look through your games collection, you are bound to find plenty of these sorts of games out there.
Charlie's Angels.
That's another bad one.
Not based on it. Absolute crap.
But it's just there to tie in and make money off it, and that is just.
But yeah, as for beat 'em ups, side-scrolling and 3D scrolling beat 'em ups, you've got absolute classics, haven't you, that are licensed, like the Turtles, the Simpsons,
the Konami
Die Hard Arcade. Got absolute fantastic beat 'em ups.
Die Hard Arcade was like virtually. It's got the Nakatomi Plaza in it, but that's where the similarity ends.
Yeah. There was the X-Men one as well. They had a side-scrolling beat 'em up, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, it's a Konami one as well.
Yeah, so if you can get it right, you get it right, and even the sort of original titles like Ghostbusters.
Mega Drive Ghostbusters was awesome.
And also there was the one that came out on the Wii and the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, which was so well regarded. Most people regarded it as technically the film exactly. Yeah. So that's creating something original using a well-known license rather than if you played Ghostbusters 2, the game, it's about 50% good game, 50% terrible. It just sort of falls over halfway through. I know the film wasn't that good anyway, but that's beside the point. You got bits of it, and then you got terrible films like the Fantastic Four games, and you're going to bring a game out for it as well.
Fantastic Four on the 360 was shocking.
Yeah, didn't they bring out two games, Fantastic Four and then Rise of the Silver
Surfer? Yeah. I think they're on the original Xbox.
Yeah, two rubbish games.
Yeah, the 360 one was awful.
Two rubbish games and two rubbish films for it.
Yeah,
that's consistency for you, isn't it? Consistent for all the wrong reasons.
Can I just throw the Toy Story games into the hat? There's one on 360 which I haven't played, which I do have, which is meant to be good. There's which is 3, ironically. I played Toy Story 1 on the Mega Drive, which I really enjoyed. Yep. But I have to give absolute credit to Toy Story 2 on the PlayStation 1, which I really bought back in the day, and it is phenomenal. I played through it, and then I didn't play. I played through it, and I didn't get every collectible or every single hidden item, and I played through it again until I found everything, and nothing was a chore in that game.
Is that where it all started then? Is that where the achievement hunting started?
What?
With that game, having to get everything.
No, it was just that good. Just absolutely that good.
No, I only had the demo of that, but I played the demo to death, and I think I got everything in the demo as well. It was just such a good game.
But there's one thing that we haven't mentioned talking about licensed game, which we really need to bring up, because it's basically a license that makes licensed game, is it not? And all I've got to do is say Lego, go.
Oh, well, yeah.
But they're a company that makes one game and then repeats it with different
just reskins it.
They make a good game.
Yeah. I Lego games, people either like them or they don't like them. But I like the games, and if you get a good franchise like the Indiana Jones games or the Pirates of the Caribbean, Lego Rock Band is. Anybody who plays the Rock Band and Guitar Hero games, Lego Rock Band is fantastic. It really is a good game. If you've got a good franchise, you can get something out of it. It's great. But when you've got something like The Hobbit, I sort of struggle a bit with that. That's not really something going on. And then there's people who give their names to the numerous games like Mel B. Not particularly Spice World theme, but I've got two games.
Mel B's Fitness.
Yeah, Get Fit with Mel B.
That's it. Yeah.
And then there's Let's Dance with Mel B.
Oh God!
Don't the Black Eyed Peas and Michael Jackson have experiences as well? There's some jokes set up.
Yeah. You had your own punchline to that one, but you got Cheggers Party Quiz.
Oh God, I'd forgotten that.
The late Keith Chegwin. Why on earth would you have a game like that? I just got no idea at all. I mean, you might as well, made it George Alagoya's Party Quiz, because that's just an obscure license sacked on the end of it. He doesn't say an awful lot in there, but it's definitely him.
It's definitely that voice.
It's definitely that voice. Yeah.
What about Carol Vorderman's Sudoku?
Oh,
Sean's got that. I was there when he bought it.
Is she actually in it? Is she actually in it?
She's not. That's the thing.
She's not in it.
She's on the box.
But she's not actually in the game.
No, not from what I've been led to believe.
Oh my God! But it's like, so I've got the version of Countdown, and you'd have thought they'd have put somebody from Countdown in that, but they haven't. So I'm sitting there waiting, for Rachel Riley to turn, or even Susie Dent to turn up, or Des Lynam from when he did it, but no, there's nobody there. It's just nothing. And then, of course, you get Family Fortunes with bloody Vernon Kay in it, and he's punched the screen repeatedly.
It's that kind of like super deformed, kind of grotesque caricature of Vernon Kay, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Quasimodo Vernon Kay. It really is. It's just
like Vernon Kay if he was an early 90s CG cartoon character.
Yeah. Or if he'd been sitting too close to the radiator and was like melted a little bit. And just,
can I just say, I've seen your video on Jasper Carrot's Golden Balls, and he looks ill.
Oh,
I think it's the same company, isn't it? Who made that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you are absolutely right on that one. But yeah, that is. Oh God, what it wouldn't be too bad if you had to understand what the bloody game's about, but I just don't understand it.
It's like number one.
Yeah, number wank. Mindscape were behind Gold Balls, and Family Fortunes. Hang on, just Phil for a moment, guys. I'm just going to reach on the.
So there was enough on game shows, wasn't there?
Yeah, that was Mindscape. Family Fortunes and Mindscape as well. Both Mindscape. Both terrible.
Does Chris Tarrant ever turn up in the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire games?
He does, yeah.
Oh, right.
He does, yeah.
Put it in the work then.
I think you only hear him on the PlayStation one. You don't actually see him, do you?
No, he's in the Wii version for sure, because I've played that one.
Presumably, though, in like the American releases, that have different voiceover as well, because they're different presenters. So yeah, that's probably why they've not physically put them in, but they've just put the voices in so they can chop and change.
Yeah, the Deal or No Deal one would have had there was another guy in that, of course. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was Regis Philbin, who died earlier this week as well.
Oh,
so
he did,
yeah. And then the weakest link on the PlayStation 1.
Oh dear.
That's got. I don't think she's in it. No,
I'm not surprised. People turn to stone if they play it.
No, she is at the very start.
But
you only hear her voice after that. I bought that when it came out.
Oh dear.
Because when it came out, because I like quiz games. So I'm gonna buy something like that.
So I bought Sky Sports Football Quiz, and that was a waste of money as well. It's probably only got about 50 questions on it. I was like, I've had that before.
Just 50 questions.
It felt like it because the questions come around so often. It was ridiculous. It's probably a couple of hundred, but
that sounds terrible.
Yeah, like an excited kid who likes football and football trivia. I saw it in Virgin Megastores for $19.99, and I bought it brand new. And I still have the exact copy sitting on the shelf over there, and it's probably never been played since that first week that I bought it. I'll have to play it for a laugh. Sorry, I'll do a video on it.
Yeah, I
sometime
would
soon.
do. I'd like to see that one because I just the other one, Kylie Sing and Dance.
And Robbie. Didn't Robbie have one and all?
Robbie Williams had his.
It was We Sing, wasn't it, Robbie Williams?
We Sing, Robbie Williams. Kylie Sing and Dance was actually you could do both, sing and dance.
That's what it says on the tin, really, doesn't it?
Which is yes,
which is two things more than Kylie can do.
Oh come on!
You take that back.
Oh, you take that back. The nice run, Pete. Not nice run, Pete. 19 episodes, but yeah, thanks for that. Mate.
I am actively seeking Green Day Rock Band, by the way.
That's quite hard to track down.
I know it is. I love it. I love Green Day as well. And I thought you needed the Rock Band guitars to play with them, but I've been advised that the Guitar Hero ones do actually work with them. And I was like, all these years, I thought you needed the Rock Band stuff, and I was like, right, need to hunt down Green Day Rock Band now.
It's actually
and the Beatles Rock Band, but Green Day Rock Band.
The thing that got me with those is the fact that on the Guitar Hero ones, if you get like say Guitar Hero Aerosmith. I hate Aerosmith.
I hate Aerosmith as well.
There's music from other bands on the game as well.
That's it.
I picked up Rock Band Beatles, it's actually Beatles Rock Band as well, which will throw off people's game shelves.
Yes, I have it under the Beatles.
Well, mine's under B, but
no, it's the Beatles.
Yeah, the words there don't count.
It says on the spine, it's got the Beatles logo and then Rock Band after it. How can you put it under B?
But anyway, I got this hating the Beatles. I really hate the Beatles. And I thought, it's okay, it'll have other music on. No. Just the Beatles.
No, it actually is, yeah.
It is just the Beatles. You're absolutely right. But I hate Aerosmith. Sorry, I hate Aerosmith as well. And I don't particularly like the Beatles, but I've got to be honest with you, the Beatles game is brilliant. It really is. And some of the graphics in that game on the Wii, I've got that on the Wii, it's really, really good. Sorry, Rob. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say with the Guitar Hero games, they kind of got it right because, yes, they had a featured band on the cover, but the other songs were picked by that feature band, so it was like the songs that they kind of like or they're big into. But the problem with Guitar Hero is, apart from Metallica, you can't argue with Metallica and how big they are and how good they are. But, Aerosmith, they're big, but, are they going to appeal to the audience you're aiming at? And then, of all people, I know they had a couple of good songs, but also, again, the audience you're appealing to, they chose Van Halen. And I kind of feel that their choices actually and the fact that they didn't really alter their gameplay too much, they didn't try anything new, kind of affected how the Guitar Hero games ended up just basically disappearing for years. But the one thing that hurts me most is that I heard that the next rumoured one before they folded was going to be Guitar Hero's Foo Fighters. I heard rumours that was going to be a thing. And the Foo Fighters are awesome. I would have so been all over that. And of course, they do appear in many a game, so they probably had some sort of connection with Guitar Hero.
Don't they actually physically appear in one of the Guitar Hero games?
Yes, the playable characters as well. That would have been awesome.
Well,
interesting story. I once slagged off Nirvana within earshot of Dave Grohl.
Ooh.
Yeah.
By accident.
You've just done an earshot of me as well. Really?
I was just never a fan. I was, long story short, I was backstage at Leeds Festival with Andrew WK. And
I'm just dropping now into I was
back in my rockstar days. We blagged. It's like some people might know my nickname before it was Pete 52. My nickname was Pete WK. and I still go by that on a lot of places. But
Xbox.
yeah. Anyway, I got talking to Andrew WK and ended up backstage with him, and it was just before the Foo Fighters set was due to start, and he's like, "Are you watching this?" And I'm like, "Not a huge fan, really. I probably will do though." And he's like, "Oh, didn't you like Nirvana?" I was like, "No, I thought Nirvana was shit." And then I turned around and Dave Grohl was like literally 20 feet away from me.
Oh, fantastic! That Guitar Hero Van Halen game. There's 25 Van Halen tracks on there, and 3 Eddie Van Halen tracks on there. How? How? I can't even name more than one Van Halen song.
Jump.
Yes, that's it. I can't name any more after that.
I must admit, when I played it, which wasn't that long ago, but it was only a couple of months ago, there were literally a couple went, "Oh yeah, I know that one. I've heard that before." But yeah, so we're up to about 3 out of those 25 that I recognise. Like a lot of time, I was playing and go, "What the hell is this?"
It's still not great, is it? It's still not great.
No.
3. A couple of them I want to toss out of there as well. America's Top Model.
I remember the video of that.
Yeah, the video. Yeah, that was a great bit. People have asked me to do a sequel to that video. So the sequel to that video may be Project Runway.
Oh dear.
And Ready Steady Cook. Is it Ready Steady Cook game? I'm a
There's
Celebrity.
a Kitchen Nightmares one as well, isn't there?
Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen, yeah.
I think there's a Kitchen Nightmares one too, actually.
Hell's Kitchen game is a complete letdown. It really is. It's like someone sanitised Gordon Ramsay. It's just not the same.
I was going to say, at what point were you lifted by that game? To be,
It's got Gordon Ramsay in it. I thought this is brilliant. I'm going to have Gordon Ramsay swearing at me from the confines of my own home. This is. You can't get any better than that. And it's like as if someone's just told him don't swear.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo.
They don't do that.
But bastards. Yeah, but I mean, it'd be much more fun to do. You don't buy it's like you don't buy a game on Scarface and find out that you're, sort of not killing anybody. It's like having a game with Gordon Ramsay and no swearing. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense in the slightest.
Oh dear.
I mean, we could go on for ages on this because there are so many of them.
So many. There's one I really want to bring up.
Go on.
On the Amiga, it was Hook. The Peter Pan film with Robin Williams?
Yes.
And I know there was the arcade game, and on a lot of the consoles they were all side-scrolling hack and slash games. But the one on the Amiga was a point-and-click adventure, and it was so amazing. It really was.
I never played. I didn't remember it came out on the Amiga.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It's if you can track it down or play a ROM or anything, it's just like a full-on Monkey Island style point-and-click adventure game, and it is such a brilliant game.
That might be worth tracking down, that one.
But the only problem is the version I had was uncracked, copied floppy disk version, and it cut out right after you get the sword to go and fight Captain Hook. So you finally get Peter Pan's golden sword. He'd hold it above his head. He'd fly for the first time because he just got his power of flight back. He'd fly off the top of the screen, and then it'd go black screen. So never actually finished that game thanks to anti-piracy.
But an auction release, Pete.
I think it was actually, yeah.
Yep.
About 20 quid. It's about 20 quid on eBay.
Compared to the Hit Squad version, of course.
Yeah, that's just on the Ocean release, not the Hit Squad.
Ah, right.
Are they doing Hit Squad for Amiga?
They did, but I don't think it's quite as shall we say collectible as the tape versions.
Yeah.
Yes, they did because I had Bubble Bobble on the Amiga, which
Right.
A Hit Squad release. $7.99 the prices on those were when back in the day.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, I'm pretty sure that isn't the 64 one worth quite a lot of money or something like.
Yeah.
Hit Squad version.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Was it like £100 when you were looking at it earlier this week, Sean?
Yeah, it was.
With 6 days to go.
Let me see if I yeah. I'll just see if I can find it and see what it's at now. Well, it's not gone up that much. £122. 3 days left.
That's pocket change.
It's about £120 out of my price range.
Yeah. just free postage.
Oh, well,
that's
that makes
all
all
right.
the difference, doesn't it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I'd want it delivered by Dustin Hoffman himself for that price.
Don't you just hate it though? eBay items, right? When they're selling something, it'll be £300, and then they'll put plus £4 some, postage. Like, for God's sake, chuck postage in, will you?
Mate, for 120 quid, I want Robin Williams resurrected and delivering me the game.
See, I nearly said Robin Williams, actually. I put myself on the spot then. I nearly said I wanted Robin Williams to deliver it, and then I remembered he was dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, quickly think of somebody else who's in that film. And I was quite impressed that I remembered Dustin Hoffman, actually.
Yeah, you should have just gone.
Julia Roberts.
You should have just gone with it. Oh, there's another one there. Grey's Anatomy, the video game.
Oh,
Who the hell?
Grey's.
Where the hell market? Who thought that's a really good idea? There must be a real market for that. Congratulations to Ubisoft for the most stupidest license ever. I've got a copy of this. I've got a sealed copy of this. It's worth all of £1. And it shall stay sealed because I've got no intention of playing it.
I remember the CSI games.
I was
really
just
good.
about to bring them up. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 of them on the 360, and not only are they really bad anyway. There's 3 on the 360. I've just remembered. There's nearly swore there. Fatal Conspiracy, Hard Evidence,
and Deadly Intent.
Deadly Intent. Yes, and the trouble with them is not only they're bad games to start with on the 360, but they are ports of PC games on the 360. So yeah, you're using a thumbstick as a mouse. Oh mate, it is awful.
I think I have one on the PS2, and I'm sure I heard it was a decent game.
They may work better
because
they're on the Wii as well. They're on the Wii as well, so they might work a bit better with the
Wii remote. Yeah. But they're easy 1000Gs with the guide as well, so that's why I played. I think just one of them, and this was before my collecting day, so I don't actually have it anymore. And it pains me. I've got to not only buy one again, but I've got to buy the other 2. At some point in my life. But they're awful.
But we joke about it as well. Things like Barbie and. Those sort of Shelley. There's something called Shelley,
Cindy's Fashion World.
Cindy's Fashion World. Stuff
It's one of the most
like that.
expensive PS1 games at the moment. It's like 400 quid.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think
I still want Robin Williams resurrected and delivered it to me for 400 quid for that. But yeah, obscure licenses like that. I said it before. You got to get those games when they're. I mean, I've got a couple of Barbie games on the proviso that at one point in the future they may be worth a bit of money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But those are the games that do it.
The ones that aren't popular, basically, because no one bought them.
Yeah, no one buys them.
Like My Horse and Me 2 on the 360 is the most.
Yeah. It's why
That's not licensed. Sorry.
It's like where you can get like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for like 50p everywhere, and it's one of the most like well-regarded games ever. But you you try and buy.
Barbie Detective, and it's going to cost you the best part of a tenner.
Fortune,
yeah. It's like, what? Why is that? I'm very proud of my Hannah Montana games.
Oh, I need to buy one of those at some point in my life as well.
You need to buy these.
There's one on the 360, I know. Maybe 2, I don't know.
There should be 2. Spotlight World Tour. And what's the other one? The movie.
Let's just double check quickly. I hope it's only one. Please be only one. No, there's only one. There's only one. Hannah Montana the movie, yeah.
Oh, you haven't got Spotlight World Tour then?
Unless CEX don't sell both, I've just used their database, but I'm pretty sure there is only one on 360, and that's one too many.
No.
Apparently it's an easy 1000G, and I will play it at some point because I'm that stupid, or / want a gamer score out of every game possible.
They're really good. I would describe them as a crossover between sort of Command and Conquer and a first-person shooter.
Did your nose just get longer?
Tactical warfare. I can't get through this whole podcast without mentioning the 24 game because that is amazing.
Yeah,
on the PS2.
That is a hidden gem. That really is
ahead of its time. It really was.
It's a shame because most people have forgotten what 24 was. I mean, it's been ages since it finished.
Yeah. No, actually, it's only been a few years. They did another series, didn't they, a few years ago?
Yeah, but it doesn't count really.
No, because when there are only 12 of them as well or something.
Yeah. What was it called? 12? Or whatever.
24 divided by 2.
Yeah, I think 24 divided by 2, yeah.
No, I mean, I went through a phase of being really into 24, and that game actually fits canonically in between. I think it's season 2 and 3.
That's right, it does, yeah.
So there's like certain characters that debut in the game, and then they're in the next season on the TV, and it's like mind blowing.
Cool.
It's a really commonly available game, but costs you no more than 50p.
Yeah,
I'll have to look for that then.
but it's just ahead of its time. It's like I had Havoc physics in it as well, and everything like that, which you just didn't see in those days. Like like normally you just shoot somebody and they'd have like a pre-animated death animation sort of thing, but this is like they'd fall realistically and actually realistically as well, not like some of the physics you'd see on PS2 games. Just things like that. It's awesome.
Yeah,
you've actually sold this to me. I'm gonna have to look out for this now.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
Actually gonna have to look out for it.
Well, there is a steelbook version available as well. And the good thing about the steelbook is it's exactly the same price as the standard version of the game.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. But I've only ever seen a steelbook once, and that's when I got it. Rob, I may have a copy actually.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure because I swapped mine out. I'll have a look and see if I still got one. I'm pretty sure I might have a copy for you.
all right, cool. It sounds really interesting to play.
Yeah,
I was going to say there was no 24 game on the 360. I know they did Lost, and they did a Prison Break game, and something called Falling Skies, which I don't even know what it is.
Falling Skies. I've not played the game. I have got it, but I've not played it. But the TV series was actually really good.
Oh, that's why they made a game on it then.
Yeah.
I bought it at CX for 50p about 6 months ago, I think, and it's still sat there between Fable and Fallout. Ironically, they're not touched either, but it's there.
It was like a sort of like War of the Worlds type of thing, but kind of in the aftermath, like where there's like groups of surviving humans trying to fight back against the aliens.
Hence the name, I guess.
Did it run like 3 or 4 series or something?
Yeah, but the first series was done by Spielberg and was awesome, and the second and consequent series were not, and we're not. So,
I'm going to have to play this now. This sounds good.
I've no idea what the game's like, but the TV series was really good.
There's also another one. Is it Defiance?
Yeah, that was sort of a concurrent release game and TV series at the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I think Mrs. Bear liked watching that program as well.
Yeah, I think I watched the first episode and wasn't into it, and because I was going to get the game and go fully into this, like immerse myself into this.
Don't buy it on the 360. You can't play it now.
No, because the game was completely online, which put me off. And the TV series, I watched the first episode and it was just a whole lot of nothing. So
is it Defiance completely online then?
Yeah,
it won't work. It'll just load up the title screen and that's it. That's all you get.
Bugger.
So I only bought it for 10p and I wonder why it was so cheap.
Yeah.
That's because you can't play it.
I think I got mine for 10p as well, so that's fine.
All your games are 10p.
No, they're not. It's a common misconception.
Sometimes they're 50p.
Yes, sometimes they're 50p. That's right. Thank you, Pete.
Or sometimes they're 10 for £1, yeah. Sorry.
If I'm lucky, they are. In most cases, they aren't. What else? Oh, Sesame Street games. Yeah, they're great fun.
Oh, the Connect ones. Yes.
But they've been going on for years. So there were Sesame Street games back on the Atari 2600 when people worked out how to crack coding for the 2600, and there was a big split between people who went on to form Activision and Atari programmers. And all of a sudden, anybody knew how to crack the code, they just released a game for it. And I mean, that was when licensed games started, even back then. I mentioned it before, there was a game based on Purina dog food. And there were a number of Sesame Street games that came out. And then there was an Asterix game, an 18 game, Star Wars games were on the 2600. So even going back to sort of like the late 70s, early 80s, before we hit the 8-bit sort of, and then the 16-bit and then the consoles, games being based on well-known media, whether it be TV or film or characters, were prominent then.
Yeah.
So it's been going on for a very, very long time. There's probably loads that we sort of haven't glossed on.
Yeah. Can I go from one extreme to another? Because I just want to get a personal sort of little mention here. And when I mean one extreme from the other, I'm going to go from Sesame Street to Saw. That's in the horror film. they had a couple of games on the 360 and the PS3, and I just say I haven't played the second one. Guilty. I really should because I love the franchise. Put off by the ridiculous amount of collectibles in the game. That's why I haven't played it. But I played the first one, and it is so much fun. If you like the film franchise and you like your horror games, just give it a try. Honestly, it was so much fun. It's almost fun, failing some of the traps to see what happens which kind of happens anyway.
I'm dying to see that crossover, Sesame Street and Saw.
Sesame Street and Saw, yeah. Where you just see Elmo tied up to a trap.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for Street Fighter versus SpongeBob to come out. We'll find out.
I've got this
Just
horrible
give it
image
time.
of Elmo
Super
in the
Smash
torture
Brothers.
rack having his limbs twisted now. Thanks.
Give it time. Give it time, and SpongeBob will probably be in the Super Smash Brothers, and Ryu's already there, so you'll get that one.
Well, I'd hope so. Because you got those Nintendo games based on the Nicktoons anyway.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of those, although they tend to sort of focus on characters that don't really know an awful lot about. Things like Jimmy Neutron and SpongeBob and Ben 10, whatever that is. What happened to Ben's 1 to 9? That's what I want to know.
Ben 10's got his whole series of games on a 360. There's at least 3 or 4 of them.
I think you'll find it's probably 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Because I think I've got 4 for the Wii, I think. I might be missing one of them, but yeah.
I've only got 1 and I haven't played it, and I know of at least 2 more without thinking, so you might be right. That's you got me looking at a lot of things tonight.
I'm just doing it as well. I'm sort of spinning around like a whirling dervish on my chair, just looking around at all these crap games I've got based on licenses, and there's a hell of a lot of them. And
yeah, there's 5.
There's 5.
5 on the 360. Cosmic Destruction, Alien Force, that word I can't even say, Galactic Racing, Omniverse, and Omniverse 2.
Is that where you can't say beginning with V?
Yeah.
Is that Vigilax or something?
Phil Gax or whatever, yeah, there you go.
Phil Gax, I work with him.
I've only got Cosmic Destruction, but yeah.
There was also a game based on the film Where the World Things Are.
Oh, I played that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is it any good?
It's very samey and tedious after a while, but a nice easy 1000G because I know all that sort of crap. But,
I remember reading the books when I was a kid, and then when the film came out, I was distinctly unimpressed with the film. And then again, I'll just say the game is do you know, it starts off and you're like, oh, this is fun, it's 3D platform and you've got to do this, you've got to do that, and it's fun. And then there's this bit where the enemies kind of suck them into a tar pit and you have to beat the tar around them to so they can get out again. And it happens so much in the last 4 or 5 levels. And you're like, oh, it's happened again. Mash this button 20 more times to get him out. Right, go across, get the other one out. And it lets it down. It's got an open world hub as well, which you can explore. But that is literally what lets it down, is that repetitive nature of that side of things, honestly. Yeah, sounds like something I'm going to miss, I think, to be honest with you. or not miss, as the case may be.
I never played the Tintin game.
The Secret
the
of the
one on the
Unicorn.
Wii.
Yes, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. It's a nice little game, though.
Is it? I must be honest with you. I've never actually sort of got around to playing it because I didn't particularly like the film, and I don't particularly like Tintin. I think if you gave me a choice between Tintin and Asterix would win every single time.
Me neither. Like in terms of being interested in it, but it's just like, like I mentioned earlier about my favourite sort of games being like Tomb Raider, Uncharted, and all that. And I was kind of on a bit of a Tomb Raider kick and thought maybe, because he's like a bit of a fortune hunter as well. So I got it, and it's nothing like that, but it is a nice little game.
Is it better than the film?
I've not seen the film, so I couldn't possibly comment. But
right, okay.
But I don't know.
I also feel like we should mention the Telltale games, by the way. Talking about
Back to the Future.
Because what, you did it again earlier? I was about to say because they're pretty much all awesome, and you threw Fantasia out. We're talking about Disney games. Ignore Back to the Future.
Back to the Future's good.
It's a bit random, and there's some things you wouldn't think to do. But generally, as a whole, the Telltale games for me, they're all awesome. The Walking Dead ones from a guy, all right, have a go at me. I've never seen a Walking Dead, TV program.
Right,
but
the
games
back
are
to
awesome.
Falling Skies, when I said the first series of that was done by Spielberg, and it was great. Walking Dead, the first series was done by James Cameron, and that was really good.
Nothing James Cameron has ever done has been any good.
Oh, what?
There's an Avatar game as well, and I don't mean The Legend of Aang. I mean the actual film.
But no. I just want to get. Are you slagging off Terminator 2?
What, the most boring film of all time?
Oh my God.
Whoa. Anyway, the Telltale games, the Walking Dead ones are brilliant.
Yeah, the Walking Dead.
Have we got the sidetrack going before this argument kicks off? But the Game of Thrones one, the Guardians of the Galaxy, which has sadly been delisted. That was really good.
Yeah, it
but
was really good.
my personal favourite, I don't know if you're going to agree with me, Pete, The Wolf Among Us.
I've never actually finished it.
It's nursery rhyme, basically, licenses. You know.
It's licensed on a really awesome comic called Fables.
Yeah, it's just the best one, and the fact that there was a second one being rumoured before Telltale went bust for the...
it's been announced. It's been officially announced.
Oh, it's been officially announced now, but obviously they went bust, and then someone took them over and basically revived everything. Yeah. And it's just so good that we might go... Yeah, well, if it's been announced, we will get the second one.
I think, possibly, apart from the Minecraft one, it's probably the only Telltale game I've never actually finished.
Minecraft one, from a guy who doesn't really like Minecraft, is not awful. It just goes on for too long.
I've just no interest in Minecraft, so I've never got around to it.
But play Minecraft Dungeons, by the way. Really good game. You just need to ignore the fact it's Minecraft. I was coerced into playing it by the YouTube legend that's Kevin Wolford, and he said it's basically Diablo, but not as Diablo as heavy, but with a Minecraft skin. It's that type of game, and I have to confess I had a lot of fun with it. You'd never catch me playing regular Minecraft, but I played that on his words, and I'm so glad I did. It's really, really good.
I just realised I told a lie as well. I've never played the Telltale Jurassic Park game.
Oh, neither have I.
No. But I really enjoyed Back to the Future for what it was. It was more of the sort of Sam & Max style than, say, the modern Telltale style, but I still really enjoyed it, even though it had some really nonsensical puzzles.
Yeah, it was a bit more, almost a little bit more open world, wasn't it? In certain places, you get what I mean. Not proper open world, but you know what I mean. It's a little bit more exploring to do in that one.
But I mean, I've done The Walking Dead's, apart from the last one actually.
Same here.
Maybe I've not done as many of these as I thought I had. I've done the Batman ones. I've done the Guardians one. I've done the Guardians one. I've done Game of Thrones.
Yeah. That was the very first one I played, actually, the Game of Thrones one. I only haven't done the last Walking Dead one because there is, again, why do games have to do this? Collectibles. There's actually collectibles in a Telltale game. And really? I'm just like, yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing for somebody who just wants to play through the game, but again, you're going back to the achievement hunting. Literally, the word that you can make any achievement hunter shudder with is just go up to them and go, achievement unlocked, collectibles, and they will actually shudder. Honestly,
I still have nightmares about all the feathers in Assassin's Creed 2.
There you go. That's probably why I haven't played the Assassin's Creed game, because the first one I was like, "Oh, I'll play this. What's the 1000G like? Collectibles? No." Off it went.
Yeah, the second one. On the second one, I've got both 1000G and I've got a platinum trophy. And so I had to go and collect so many hundreds of these feathers dotted around the cities twice. Which was fun.
Yeah, of all things, bloody feathers.
Well, I think we probably exhausted quite a lot of stuff on that. It wasn't quite as long as I thought that was going to go, but I think we've got to go a bit further as well. So we may revisit this one going forward. I think it might be a good idea if we maybe picked a few licensed games each and had a discussion about it.
Or you could break it down into like animation and Disney and action. Because, I'm just looking at my shelf and then there's like the Cars games, they were really good. And we haven't even touched on James Bond and GoldenEye. It's just much when you talk about licensed games. So
there's also been an entire episode on James Bond games, been that many of them.
Yeah.
And then not just based on the films, but, and again...
Yeah, spin-off games, basically their own games.
Spin-off
like Bloodstone and
Nightfire and...
Yeah.
Agent Under Fire.
Agent Under Fire, and the one I can never remember.
Everything or Nothing.
That's it, thank you. But yeah, I mean, it's a great subject. I'm sure people listening to this will hopefully remember as many as we have, and I dare say there'll be many others that we haven't even got around to touch on. I think it's a good idea to do for another episode, that one, but I think we'll draw a line under it for now. Otherwise, we'll be here for another 3 hours. Otherwise,
you can just carry on. You can just keep jumping from game to game.
Yeah, Batman, Spider-Man.
Superheroes. That's a complete new genre. Oh dear, guys! Thank you very much indeed for giving up your time once again for this week's podcast. It's been absolutely brilliant and great to have this conversation. And like I said, I hope people have enjoyed it as much as we have. Had a lot of laughs with this one, and also brought back some good memories and some not so good memories, and very much clarified that Terminator 2 is the most boring film of all time.
I've got authority that the Terminator could beat Kylie Minogue in a fight.
I doubt it. I very much doubt it. Don't upset her, mate, when she gets angry. Thank you very much indeed to the guys for popping in tonight. Thank you very much to Gonaldinho Plays Rob. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you very much. And Gears of War didn't get a mention in this episode, so there it is, down your drink.
There it
Until there it is, right at the very end. Thanks very much to Pete Fighter 2. Pete, thank you.
Thank you.
And Sean, Retro Games Revive. Thank you very much indeed, Sean.
Thank you very much, mate.
Lovely. This is the Retro Bear saying thank you very much indeed for listening. We will see you again very, very soon. Next episode will be episode 20, which will be something to look forward to. Hopefully we'll think of some interesting to talk about there. Apologies from Eddie Rollercore and Nathan Retro 1 for not being here this week. Hopefully they will be along in a future episode. But until then, and we speak to you again, do take care. And for the tNb guys, it's bye for now.